So, this video title may seem a little stupid to you, doesn't it? Probably thinking, well no, duh, technology has affected communication. I mean, just look at a phone. So, it would seem a little stupid to make a video that is just about how technology affects communication. But that's just the thing. All you see is the fact that you're able to call someone from almost anywhere in the world. So instead of talking about that, we're going to be talking about the entire processing of it itself. Thanks to an amazing timeline from Conference Calls Unlimited, we're going to be going all the way back in time to 1800 BC, that is approximately 3,821 years ago. At this time, the Chinese were the big nation of the time. They were using their Great Wall and smoke signals to get the word across to soldiers and to the rest of the nation. These were secret signals with smoke that would warn the soldiers about anything during warfare, as there was a lot of war with China at this time. Another example of this would be in the scene of Disney movie Mulan, where they lit the fire to warn all of China that the Han were attacking. Now you may be wondering how successful these smoke signals were. Well, they were able to be seen from 500 miles away. That's the distance if you were going to run 2,000 times around the track, or go from almost the bottom of California to the top. The next innovation from this was way later in 150 BC from the Greek. They decided to make it so that letters from the Greek language could be put into numbers so that it could be easily communicated over torch signals to other Greek people. Not too long after that, in 59 BC, the first newspapers were created. As you know, newspapers are made in order to get, well, the news around. This was one of the first things that actually started to get information around to more people. Now I don't know how this one works, but the next innovation would be paper in 180. Paper is super important because you can practically put anything on it, or you can use it for many things, such as paper airplanes. Well, I don't think they had those at that time. The next innovation was in 1000 AD. I can't believe it took them this long after they had paper, but the next innovation was pens. Friggin' pens. Like, come on, it took humanity 900 years after they made paper to make pens. Anyways, with using lead, aka poison, on paper, they were able to make pens so that they could finally write on paper. I can't even imagine what they would have used in those 900 years. Now, on to the next innovation. Clearing the 1400 AD. We now have printing presses, meaning that we can mass print newspapers and books and everything. Also meaning that a lot of scribes are going to be losing their jobs. However, I do wonder how papers were made in 59 BC if they didn't have paper, pens, or printing press. Finally, to the more modern of things, we move to 1844, where we now have the telegraph. We can now send telegraphic messages 40 miles away, but this time, instead of being able to do it 500 miles away and having to convert smoke into numbers, and then numbers into letters, we make the distance go clear down to 40 miles, but we can use signals to make words. Honestly, I don't know if I'd consider this better, but whatever, it's technology. Next up is the telephone. Invented in 1848, the telephone is where we start to get more modern as we're able to make audible calls over wires. Except the only problem is they actually weren't audible until 1876, when the first successful words, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you," were said on the first successful telephone call by inventor Alexander Graham Bell. However, Alexander wanted the common greeting on the phone to be ahoy, but Thomas Edison, another really famous inventor, you've probably heard of him, decided that hello was going to be the word. And nowadays we just say whatever we want. The next big invention would be the radio in 1896. However, it was actually made a lot earlier than this, but this is when it got really big. And if you're going to say that the radio isn't even big anymore, it's actually still a $13.4 billion industry, and that seems pretty big to me. Anyways, the radio became really big really quickly because it was able to send signals farther than the phone, because phone required wires. So people used radio for a long time because it could just send signals. And so, actually, the most common type of radio, when they were first made, used crystals as their main components. Instead of batteries, like what we have to power them, they use crystals to help. And nowadays we just use batteries because they're more efficient now, and because we don't want to pay for crystals, let's just be honest. Next, our favorite thing came along, computers. In 1897, computers came along, and they started to become really better really quickly. And they wouldn't go really fast until the 1960s when text editors finally came along, allowing people like us to program the computers to do things that they do now. And now it's the 1920s and we are finally recording things. on records, that is. If you didn't know, Thomas Edison was the one who invented the recorder. And the first thing that he recorded back in 1877, actually, was Mary Had a Little Lamb. But in 1920s was when recorders actually got popular because they actually started working audibly. They might not be from the 1920s, but wouldn't it have been awesome to have like something better than Mary Had a Little Lamb, like a band or something? Like, really? Come on, Thomas. Also in the 1920s, optic fiber was now a thing. In the 1920s, optic fiber, which is millions of fiber made out of glass that can send electronic signals back and forth, such as the internet would soon become, would be able to transfer at really fast speeds, and now they are here in 1920s. But why am I just barely getting it at my house in 2021? Like, did we just not want to use optic fiber until 100 years later? It's faster than anything else we have. Next up, the television. Invented in 1927, the television soon became one of the fastest growing and biggest industries in the world, allowing for other industries, such as the film industry, to come over and take over our ways of entertainment. Fun fact, the TV's resolution was actually just 60 lines when it was first created, and now with their common 4K and even some 8K resolution devices, it seems a bit crazy to me. Also, the resolution of the human eye is equal to about 576 megapixels. Just curious, what would happen if we made something with higher resolution than that? Here comes 1946, and we now have the first cell phone. I mean, if we're being technical, it was the first phone that did not have to have a wired connection. However, it required a car to power it, and it could only work 6 times on a single charge. This was first used by the Swedish police. Kind of interesting. Next up, we have one of the favorite forms of passing times, video games, coming along in 1947, along with the long playing record in 1948, and something we're all kind of grateful for, conference calling in 1956. Next up, 1971, and we now have email. Email is one of our biggest forms of contact these days, with companies like Google and what used to be Yahoo made the biggest email companies, making a monopoly on email. Also, fun fact, the first spam email did not occur until 1978, when only 383 users received an email about a new kind of computer. Nowadays, I wish emails only sent to 383 users instead of the millions that they go to now. Next up, another one of our favorite things, the internet. The internet came along in 1983, allowing computers from all over the world to be able to connect together, with blogs coming in 1997, with social networks also in 1997, and with webinars in 1998, all of which are now super common on the internet. Just imagine what would happen if the internet was taken away for 1 week from people under 21 years old. I honestly do not think that would end up well. Next up, smartphones in 2001. At this time, smartphones were being dominated by companies such as BlackBerry. We saw how that went though, but then in 2006, when Google became super popular and was now considered as an actual word, that sparked the internet to completely change. I bet you guessed it, the next big thing was in 2007 when the iPhone came along, the first touchscreen smartphone. But what also came along was cloud computing, allowing us to do whatever we want over the cloud, such as iCloud, Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, and so many more cloud-based services that help us in our daily lives. I can tell you right now that just in the video you're watching, I used over 3 different cloud services to help me make it. So, yeah. Also, fun fact, did you know that in 2009 in South Africa, it was faster for a pigeon to transfer 4 gigabytes of data over 60 miles than it was to transfer 4 gigabytes of data over broadband? But you also have to realize that South Africa didn't really have the most advanced technology at the time, so it would have been faster in different countries. Anyways, everything past 2007 has basically been documented here on YouTube because, as many of you guys know, YouTube was created in 2005. So basically, my last item on the timeline is YouTube. YouTube, as you know, is a cloud-based platform that allows people from all over the world to create videos and on the internet, post them on the internet. And it's also the house to amazing channels, and you guys should just go and subscribe to them, aka mine, please. Anyways, it helps a lot. Anyways, thanks for watching, and as I said earlier, please be sure to subscribe, and it really helps me to grow, and I've been trying to make better videos for you guys. So if you like this video or just wanted to say anything, let me know in the comments. I try to read every comment that I can, but sometimes I can't get to them. Anyways, thanks for watching, and we hope to see you in the next video.